Have you defined your variable recurring revenue streams in your SaaS, tech, or AR company? Let's find out in today's edition of SaaS Metrics School. Welcome, Beverly here. So important to define your revenue streams, clear and distinct revenue streams on your P&L. The P&L can be a major weapon for good. Lots of great information that we can take off of their revenue streams, margins by revenue stream, our OpEx profile, and of course that helps our forecast process and then also feeds our SaaS metrics. So let's start at a high level. What are these 6 major revenue categories that I see in SaaS companies? I've helped a ton of SaaS companies at this point. So first, subscriptions. Top of the pyramid, we have our subscription revenue, fixed MRR, ARR could be invoiced monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, annual. So subscriptions start number 1, then variable revenue. Number 2. Number 3 is professional services. So the setup, configuration, training, onboarding of our customers. I've got some podcast episodes on that, as well as the metrics you should track with your PS team. Next, we have managed services. So people-powered subscription revenue. Now, I'm not going to count that as ARR, but it is recurring revenue, but I'm not going to roll it up to subscription or variable revenue. And then we have hardware revenue. It could be bundled within our software subscription, or it could be sold separately. Finally, other, that could be conference revenue, other adjustments to our revenue streams. So our 6 major revenue streams. Next, let's focus on variable revenue. Before, it was all about usage. We just said, hey, we have usage revenue. Now I call that variable revenue because it could be usage revenue, overage revenue, processing revenue, consumption revenue, and now outcome-based revenue. So if we have different variable revenue streams, we have to define what type of variable revenue that is. Because if, let's just say we have subscription revenue plus some sort of variable revenue stream, either we can call it variable on our P&L, or maybe we do call it usage. Maybe we do call it outcome-based. If we have multiple, maybe we roll those multiple variable revenue streams into one category. So it's important to separately define our revenue categories, make sure our chart of account structure is set up. We have general ledger revenue accounts set up for each major revenue stream. Now, you mentioned, or I mentioned overage. You may think, well, usage is overage revenue, but overage, very important to define separately, because oftentimes I see subscription revenue commingled with overage revenue, and that wreaks havoc on our retention schedule. So make sure overage revenue is coded separately in its own distinct category. So why does this matter? Well, 1, we can set up our SaaS P&L correctly. 2, it helps make our revenue forecast more accurate. 3, we can set up the correct MR schedules by revenue stream. 4, we can calculate retention by our major revenue categories and product lines. And 5, if I'm keeping track correctly, so many important uses, this is going to feed our SaaS metrics data set. And finally, board reporting, due diligence, investor reporting. So important to get this set up. So when you're thinking about revenue, let's make sure we have our revenue stream set up correctly, clear and distinct. We're not commingling revenue or subscription with variable, for example. And then if we have multiple variable revenue streams, let's make sure we define that correctly and keep overage separate from usage, separate from subscription. So if you enjoy SaaS Metrics School, I'd love a 5-star rating and review. We'd appreciate that, and see you next time.